The galaxy was at war long before the first human ship crossed its borders. Endless fleets burned in the skies, alien armies clashed on forgotten worlds, and new weapons were tested every day. Yet none of the great empires expected much when the humans arrived. Earth was a small world, its people untested, its history violent, but short compared to the ancient dynasties of the stars. The aliens thought humans would be destroyed quickly, swallowed by the chaos of war. But the first mistake they made was underestimating the strange resilience of Earth's children. A fleet of steel-gray ships cut through the void, carrying soldiers from the Zorith Dominion. They were hunting for new resources and a small human colony had been chosen as an easy target. The Dominion believed it would be a swift victory, but when they landed, the humans did not scatter like prey. They fought back, not only with weapons, but with numbers. For every human who fell, another took their place, and another after that. The aliens saw something that unsettled them. Humans did not fade under pressure. They multiplied their resistance. Dominion Commander ordered his scientists to capture human survivors. He wanted to know why these fragile beings did not break. In sterile labs under cold light, the experiments began. Alien doctors injected humans with toxins, starved them, and forced them into endless tests. Still, the humans endured. Their bodies adapted, their wounds healed faster than expected, and when two humans were placed together, something remarkable happened. In a matter of weeks, the female carried life within her, faster than the Dominion had ever seen among their own kind. An alien biologist named Rivik was the first to speak what others feared to admit. They are dangerous, not because of their weapons, but because of their fertility. If they spread, no empire can contain them. His words shocked the Dominion Council. No species in the galaxy carried such a gift or such a threat. Most aliens required years to bring forth one child, and their populations grew slowly. But humans? They multiplied in the midst of war, even in chains. One night, deep inside the laboratory, a young female scientist named Sarai observed a pair of human captives. They were weak, covered in wounds, but when the man held the woman's hand, she smiled through her pain. Sarai watched as the monitors picked up new signs of life, an unborn child. She gasped, realizing what this meant. In the middle of bloodshed and despair, humans created hope. To Sarai, who belonged to a species that struggled for generations to have children, it felt like watching a miracle. But for the Dominion generals, it was not a miracle, it was a weapon. They debated in their war halls whether to enslave the humans as breeders, to control their numbers, or to wipe them out before their fertility flooded the galaxy. Rumors spread through the fleets, and fear began to grow. For the first time in centuries, the warlords of the stars looked not at each other, but at humanity as the greatest threat to their future. The humans in captivity sensed the change. Guards treated them with a mix of caution and awe, as if they were holding something far too powerful. Some whispered that humanity carried the fire of creation itself. And as the experiments continued, the truth became clearer. Human DNA adapted to alien environments, resistant to diseases and toxins that killed other species. Their children survived where alien young could not. Even in artificial wombs, when alien scientists attempted to merge human life with their own, strange hybrids clung to survival in ways that defied logic. On the colony front lines, Dominion soldiers reported nightmares of facing endless waves of humans. "We killed them," one soldier said, trembling in his report, "but they returned. Their numbers grow faster than we can count. It is like trying to fight against a tide that never ends." Rivik, the scientist, presented his findings before the High Council. "You fear their weapons, but you should fear their wombs. You fear their armies, but you should fear their children. Humanity is not another species to be conquered. They are the future of war itself. If they spread beyond their world, they will consume us all." The chamber fell silent. Every alien leader stared at the glowing holograms of human biology projected above them. They saw proof of resilience, rapid reproduction, and adaptability that no empire had ever matched. It was not conquest that made humans dangerous, it was their very nature. Yet one council member, an old strategist with eyes like cold steel, leaned forward and said what none wanted to hear. If we destroy them now, we may still survive. But if we fail, if even one world gives them shelter, then humanity will inherit the stars. The war that began as a simple raid was changing into something far greater. Humanity, once dismissed as fragile, was about to become the most feared species in the galaxy. And every empire, every scientist, and every soldier now faced the same terrifying question. What happens when humans spread? The Dominion thought they could keep the secret contained. Only a few scientists and commanders knew the truth about human fertility, and they wanted it that way. But in the galaxy, no secret lasted forever. Whispers spread through trade routes, carried by smugglers and deserters, until even distant empires began to hear rumors of the strange species from Earth. Some called humans a blessing, others called them a plague, but all agreed on one thing: the galaxy would never be the same once humanity spread. Back on the human colony where the Dominion first struck, the survivors refused to surrender. Entire families hid in caves, living off roots, rainwater, and whatever supplies they could steal from the occupiers. Children were born in the shadows of war, their cries echoing through tunnels as proof that humanity had not been broken. 2. The Dominion soldiers, it felt like battling ghosts. They cleared one hideout only to find another sprouting days later, filled with more humans than before. For the first time, seasoned warriors admitted fear. Sarai, the young alien scientist, spent her nights studying the human captives. At first she had been ordered to record their biology, nothing more. But she could not stop herself from asking questions. Why did they smile at each other even when chained? Why did they fight to stay alive when others would simply surrender? She watched as a human mother comforted her child with nothing but a gentle hum. There was power in that hum, a power Sarai could not explain. She began to feel something her people had forgotten long ago. Hope. Rivik, her superior, was less sentimental. He stared at charts and numbers, pointing to cold logic. Their fertility is not a gift, it is a weapon. They can outnumber us in less than a century. If even one human ship escapes into deep space, it will be too late to contain them. He pressed for extermination, urging the Council to wipe out Earth before the infection spread. But other empires were listening too. The Cathari Syndicate, known for dealing in life itself, saw opportunity. They imagined entire colonies of humans working as forced breeders, providing endless laborers and soldiers. The Valoran priests, whose own species was dying from infertility, whispered that humans might be sacred, chosen by the universe to restore life. Some wanted to protect humanity, others wanted to use them, and still more wanted to erase them. Without realizing it, humans had become the center of the galaxy's most dangerous debate. Meanwhile, the human prisoners began to understand how closely they were being watched. One of them, a soldier named Daniel, whispered to his fellow captives, "They are afraid of us, not our guns, not our ships, us." His words spread like fire. The humans realized that survival alone was victory, because with every child born, their numbers grew. The Dominion could take their cities, but they could not stop the beating of human hearts. On the front lines, Dominion commanders faced new problems. Their soldiers hesitated before raids, haunted by the thought of killing people who seemed to multiply faster than death could claim them. Some deserted, unwilling to fight an enemy that rose stronger after every loss. Reports arrived of soldiers captured by humans, then released, carrying stories of kindness. One Dominion scout said he had been wounded, and instead of killing him, the humans gave him food and water before letting him go. That confused the Dominion more than any battle. What kind of enemy gave mercy? Sarai brought her findings to Rivik. Look at this, she said, pointing to data. The humans do not just survive, they adapt. When we poison them, their children resist it. When we starve them, their bodies learn to live with less. They are shaping themselves with every struggle, do you not see? The more we push them, the stronger they become. Rivik's jaw tightened. That is why they must be destroyed. If they adapt too far, no species will compete with them. He paused, lowering his voice. Do not let your sympathy blind you, Sarai. They will replace us. But Sarai was already blind in another way. She could not unsee the strength in their eyes, the bond between them. She thought of her own people, struggling with low birth rates, their nurseries half empty. What would her empire give to feel life so easily? What would it mean for the galaxy if humans shared their gift, instead of conquering with it? That question soon reached the highest chambers of power. The Dominion Council convened with leaders from neighboring empires. Holograms filled the great chamber, showing images of human resilience. Children born in caves. Survivors walking through fire. Soldiers standing against overwhelming odds. The evidence was undeniable. Humans were not just survivors, they were creators. Some leaders demanded humanity be protected. Others argued for enslavement. Many called for destruction before it was too late. The chamber shook with voices, each empire deciding whether humans would be the galaxy's salvation or its doom. All the while, on the ground, in hidden caves and broken cities, the humans kept growing. More children were born, more families rebuilt. Every cry of a newborn echoed louder than any cannon. The galaxy argued, but humanity did not wait. They were already spreading. The galaxy had seen many dangerous species, but none unsettled the empires as much as humanity. Armies could be destroyed. Fleets could be broken. But what could stop a people who grew faster than anyone could kill them? That was the question whispered in council halls, in soldier camps, and in hidden research stations scattered across the stars. The Dominion decided to tighten its grip. They captured more humans, shipping them off to secret facilities hidden deep inside asteroid belts. The goal was to study them, to learn every detail of their bodies and find a weakness before it was too late. Yet the more the scientists tested, the fewer weaknesses they found. Humans were not the strongest, nor the fastest, nor the most advanced. But they had something no other species matched: an endless drive to survive. Inside one of those stations, Sarai stood behind a glass wall, watching a small group of human prisoners. Among them was a woman who had given birth only days earlier. The infant's cries filled the sterile chamber, sharp and alive. Sarai's own people sometimes waited decades for one child to be born. Here, in the middle of captivity, humanity still brought life. She pressed her hand against the glass, whispering words her superiors would call dangerous. You are not weak, you are unstoppable. But her admiration was not shared by all. Rivik stormed into the chamber, datapads in hand. The council has seen enough, he barked. They will not debate much longer. Soon they will order extermination, and it will be the only sane choice. His eyes burned with cold fear. Do you not see it, Sarai? We are studying our replacements. Sarai's voice trembled, but she stood her ground. No, we are studying hope. If we kill them, we kill the only chance the galaxy has to survive. The argument between them spread through the labs like fire. Some scientists agreed with Rivik, believing humans were a threat greater than any fleet. Others, touched by what they witnessed, began to see humanity as a miracle. Divisions formed, and for the first time in generations, Dominion scientists questioned their own orders. Meanwhile, across the stars, empires that once ignored Earth began sending spies and emissaries. The Cathari Syndicate secretly purchased human captives from Dominion officers, eager to build breeding colonies in hidden worlds. The Valoran priests sent missionaries, calling humans the chosen life-givers of the universe. Even the warlike Grail clans began debating whether to fight humanity or to intermarry with them, hoping their own bloodlines would grow stronger. In the shadows of these plots, the humans themselves began to act. Daniel, the soldier who once whispered to the captives that fear was their weapon, organized quiet resistance. Even in chains, he taught others to signal, to pass messages, to prepare for the day freedom returned. "They are afraid of our numbers," he said softly in the darkness of the cells. "Then let us give them reason to fear." One night, the alarms of the station blared. A containment breach. Guards rushed into the human block, weapons raised. But they found not panic, only determination. The humans had been digging for weeks, using scraps of metal stolen from their meals and sharpened against the floor. Now a tunnel stretched beneath the cells, a path to the maintenance shafts. Mothers carried children on their backs, fathers shielded the weak, and even the wounded limped forward. When the guards tried to stop them, they were overwhelmed not by strength, but by sheer numbers. For every human dragged away, two more pressed forward. Sarai stood frozen at the glass as the chaos unfolded. She should have sounded the alarm, but instead her hands trembled on the controls. She thought of her own barren world, of empty nurseries and silent cradles, and then she pressed the override key. Doors slid open, locks released. The humans surged like a river breaking through a dam. Ravek's furious voice echoed behind her. "What have you done? You have doomed us all." But Sarai did not answer. She watched as Daniel lifted a fallen child and carried him through the tunnel. She watched as men and women formed a wall around the young, protecting them with their lives. And she knew, in that moment, that humanity's greatest weapon was not only fertility. It was love. News of the escape spread quickly. The Dominion tried to cover it up, but rumors already raced through the galaxy. Whispers told of humans who broke free, of a scientist who helped them, of children born even in chains. To ordinary soldiers, it sounded like legend. To rival empires, it sounded like opportunity. To the Dominion Council, it sounded like the beginning of the end. In their dark chamber, lit by cold blue light, the council argued again. One voice thundered above the rest. "We thought humans were prey. Now they are predators of time itself. If they multiply unchecked, they will inherit the stars. The only choice left is war, total war." But beyond their reach, in hidden caves and stolen ships, the humans carried on. New children were born, new plans were made. And step by step, the galaxy inched closer to a truth no one wanted to face. Humanity was no longer a small species from a forgotten world. They were becoming the future. The Dominion Council declared war on humanity. Their fleets darkened the skies above Earth's colonies, determined to burn out the threat before it spread any further. To them, humans were not just enemies, they were a storm waiting to swallow the galaxy. Yet despite all their power, the Dominion did not understand one truth. War only made humans stronger. The first battles were brutal. Human ships were outgunned, their weapons outdated compared to Dominion technology. Colonies were destroyed in fire, entire cities reduced to ash. But in the ruins, survivors gathered together. Families huddled in underground shelters, and new children were born even as the war raged above them. Dominion soldiers looked at these survivors with disbelief. How could a people multiply in the middle of destruction? On the human homeworld, Earth, leaders rallied their scattered armies. They sent out a call not of surrender, but of endurance. "We may lose battles," one commander said, "but we will never lose the future. Because the future is already in our children's hands." His words spread across the stars, reaching colonies, resistance fighters, and even some alien species who listened in secret. In the Dominion laboratories, Ryvik pressed harder for extermination. "We are wasting time," he roared at his fellow scientists. "Every day we hesitate, their numbers double. Look at this data. In 10 years, they will be unstoppable. In 50, they will overrun us all. His eyes glowed with fear. Humanity is not just fertile, they are inevitable. But Sarai could not stay silent. Standing before the same council, she raised her voice. You see a plague, but I see salvation. My people have been dying for centuries. Our birth rates fall every year. We pray for new children, but our nurseries are empty. And yet, here is humanity overflowing with life even in war. If we destroy them, we destroy the one gift that could save us all. Her words sparked outrage. Some council members shouted that she was a traitor. Others leaned forward, listening more carefully than they wanted to admit. For the first time, the debate was no longer about destruction alone. It was about choice, whether to fight humanity or to join them. While the leaders argued, the humans themselves kept moving. Daniel, now the voice of resistance among the captives, led raids against Dominion outposts. Small groups of humans attacked supply lines, stealing weapons and food. They did not fight like traditional armies. They fought like survivors, striking where least expected, then vanishing into the shadows. Each raid freed more prisoners. Each freed prisoner met another family, another child, another piece of hope. Dominion soldiers began to fear the humans not for their strength, but for their persistence. One soldier confessed to his commander, "They die, and still they come back. I have killed the same faces twice over, or so it feels." How do we fight? People who rise after every fall. Other empires began to take sides. The Cathari Syndicate offered secret aid, smuggling humans out of Dominion territory. The Valoran priests declared humans sacred and vowed to protect them. Even among the Dominion, whispers spread of soldiers refusing to fire on women carrying children. War was turning into something else, something larger than the Dominion could control. Sarai was sent back to her laboratory, confined by guards, but she did not stop her work. In secret, she began studying human DNA more closely. She discovered something astonishing. Human fertility was not only about numbers, it was about adaptability. When placed in alien environments, human cells changed rapidly, resisting toxins, absorbing nutrients, and blending with local ecosystems. They are not only survivors, Sarai whispered to herself. They are connectors. They can join with the galaxy itself. When Daniel and his rebels heard of Sarai's secret research, they made a daring move. They broke into the laboratory, freeing the prisoners and seizing the data. Sarai stood among them, no longer an observer, but a participant. If the Dominion sees this proof, she told Daniel, they will panic even more. But if other empires see it, they will rally to you. Choose wisely. Daniel looked at her, tired but unbroken. We don't want to conquer them. We only want to live. But if living means spreading, then we will spread. Nothing can stop that. The data spread faster than ships could travel. Across the galaxy, scientists, soldiers, and ordinary citizens read the same truth. Humans were not just fertile. They were adaptive beyond imagination. To some, it was terrifying. To others, it was hope. To all, it was undeniable. The war reached a new phase. Fleets gathered, alliances shifted, and entire empires trembled at the choice before them. Was humanity the end of the galaxy or its rebirth? And all the while, in caves, in shelters, in broken cities and scattered colonies, the cries of newborn children rose above the sounds of war. The galaxy had never heard such music. The war was no longer between the Dominion and humanity alone. The entire galaxy was watching, forced to take sides. To some, humans were the greatest danger ever seen. To others, they were the only hope. For survival in a universe of fading birth rates and dying civilizations, on neutral worlds, merchants whispered that humans could rebuild what the galaxy had lost. Old species, weakened by centuries of decline, wondered if humans might revive their lines through bonds of blood. Priests spoke of prophecy, claiming that the children of Earth were sent to awaken life itself. But warlords and generals saw only danger, warning that if humans multiplied without control, they would drown the stars in their children. Daniel's resistance had become more than a rebellion. His name was spoken in hidden corners as a symbol of endurance. The humans he led were no longer just captives breaking chains. They were warriors, parents, and shepherds of a future larger than anyone could imagine. Daniel's words guided them through hardship. We are not fighting for land. We are fighting for tomorrow. And tomorrow is carried in our children. Sarai stood at his side, her eyes filled with quiet wonder. She had betrayed her people for this cause, but she did not regret it. She had lived among humans long enough to understand that their true power was not only fertility. It was the strength to hope, even in the darkest night. Watching human mothers sing to their newborns by the light of stolen lamps, she felt her own spirit healed. Meanwhile, the Dominion tightened its grip. Fleet after fleet was sent to crush human colonies. But the more the Dominion attacked, the more allies humanity found. Small empires offered refuge. Smugglers carried human families across enemy lines. Some alien soldiers even deserted, unwilling to fight what they now called the eternal species. In the Dominion Council, fear turned into desperation. Ryvik stood before the rulers with new reports. We kill them by the thousands, he said, voice sharp as a blade. But they return by the tens of thousands. This is no ordinary war. This is a flood, and we are trying to stop it with our hands. His face twisted with bitterness. If we fail now, then humanity will not only survive. They will dominate, but not every council member agreed. Whispers of surrender began, not out of mercy but out of fear. Some asked if it was wiser to ally with humanity, to bind them with treaties, than to keep bleeding fleets against them. The empire trembled under its own uncertainty. On one battlefield, the truth became undeniable. Dominion troops stormed a hidden colony, burning huts and scattering survivors. Yet when the smoke cleared, they found not despair but new life. A woman had given birth in the middle of the chaos, shielded by other humans who formed a circle around her. The infant lived, crying strong against the roar of fire. A Dominion soldier dropped his weapon, shaken. They will never end, he muttered. Not even death stops them. The story of that child spread like wildfire. Across the galaxy, it became a symbol. In songs, in prayers, in quiet conversations, the tale was told. Humanity could bring life from ashes. Where others perished, they created. Where others weakened, they grew. Daniel understood the power of this moment. He ordered no grand speeches, only quiet strength. Every new child is a victory, he told his people. Every breath they take is proof that we cannot be broken. His words bound them together, tighter than any weapon could. Sarai carried a secret deeper still. Her studies of human DNA revealed that their fertility was not only fast, it was adaptive. Human children born in alien environments carried traits that made them resistant, sometimes even stronger than their parents. They are not just growing, she whispered to Daniel one night. They are changing. Every hardship shapes them. The galaxy itself is making them stronger. Daniel listened, silent for a long moment. Then he smiled, though his eyes were heavy with exhaustion. Then the galaxy should be afraid. Because no wall, no chain, and no empire can hold back a species that learns from every wound. The war reached its peak. Dominion fleets gathered for one final assault, a campaign meant to end humanity forever. But even as their armadas lit the stars, humanity spread in ways the Dominion could not stop. Families hid on distant moons, newborns cried in broken ships, and resistance fighters struck supply lines like wolves among sheep. The Dominion thought in terms of battles. Humanity thought in terms of generations. As the fleets clashed, Other empires prepared their decisions. Some armies readied to march against humans. Others quietly opened their gates to them. The galaxy was no longer united against Earth. It was divided, fractured, and uncertain. And through it all, the humans kept multiplying, the sound of their children's voices carried farther than any fleet, farther than any weapon. The galaxy had never seen such a force. It was not born of fire or steel. It was born of life itself. The stars burned bright with war. Dominion fleets stretched across entire sectors, their weapons glowing like suns. They had sworn to erase humanity once and for all, to end the terror of their fertility before it consumed the galaxy. Yet even as the final campaign began, the Dominion leaders felt something they had not known in centuries. Doubt. For every human colony they crushed, 2 more appeared. For every child they silenced, a dozen more were born. On Earth, the human homeworld, survivors braced themselves. Cities were scarred, skies were blackened, but the spirit of the people had not died. Mothers carried infants in their arms as soldiers built barricades around them. Fathers worked with bare hands to rebuild shelters from rubble. Children laughed in the ruins, a sound that unnerved even the Dominion spies who watched from orbit. "They should be broken," one of them whispered. "But they are not." Daniel stood among his people, no longer just a soldier, but a leader of a species fighting for its right to exist. His voice carried across hidden transmitters to every colony, every outpost, every cave where humans still breathed. "We are more than a nation. We are more than a world. We are life itself. If they burn us, we will rise again. If they chain us, we will break free. And if they kill us, we will live on in our children." This war is not about weapons. It is about who will inherit the future, and the future belongs to us. Sarai listened at his side, her heart torn between 2 worlds. She knew her own people would call her a traitor, yet she no longer cared. She had seen the truth with her own eyes. Humanity was not a plague to be destroyed. They were a gift, a spark of renewal the galaxy desperately needed. Her hands shook as she clutched the data she had gathered. If revealed, it would prove what Daniel claimed, that humanity's fertility was not just survival, but transformation. The final battle erupted on the colony of Luthara, a world rich in resources. Dominion fleets descended like firestorms, determined to make an example of it. But this time, the humans were not alone. Ships from minor empires appeared, small and battered, but flying alongside human craft. The Valoran priests sent guardians, declaring humanity sacred. The Cathari syndicate smuggled weapons to the surface. Even deserters from the Dominion joined in secret, unable to fight against what they now believed was destiny. The battle raged for days. Human fighters darted between larger ships, striking with reckless courage. On the ground, civilians dug tunnels, hiding children while soldiers fought street by street. Dominion commanders reported that no matter how many they killed, more faces appeared. "It is like cutting through water," one shouted into his comms. "They flow around us. They will not stop." Rivik, furious and afraid, made his last attempt to convince the council. "Do you not see? If we fail here, then humanity will be everywhere. In a century, they will not only survive, they will outnumber us all. This is extinction, not victory." But even as he spoke, he knew the truth. The tide had already turned. The Dominion could win battles, but they could not defeat time itself. Humanity was time's ally. In the ruins of Luthra's capital, Sarai gave Daniel the final piece of evidence, a data crystal glowing with her research. "This proves it," she said. "Your people adapt faster than any known species. Your children are stronger, quicker, resistant to everything we throw at you. You are not only fertile, you are becoming the galaxy itself." Daniel took the crystal, his eyes filled with both pride and sorrow. "Then they will never stop hunting us," he said softly. Sarai shook her head. No, they will stop because they will realize they cannot win. One day, even the Dominion will see that the only path forward is to join you. When the Dominion fleets finally withdrew, broken and scattered, the galaxy trembled. Humanity had survived the impossible. They had not won through overwhelming strength, but through endurance. Through children born in caves, in fire, in chains. Through laughter in the ruins. Through life that could not be silenced. In the aftermath, empires gathered once more to decide what humanity meant for the future. Some still called them dangerous. Some called them salvation. But no one could deny what Sarai's words now spread. Humanity is not here to be destroyed. Humanity is here to inherit the stars. And so it was written in records and whispered in the markets, sung in temples and told in secret meetings. Humans were the supreme breeders of the galaxy. No war could erase them, no empire could contain them. They were the future, loud, unyielding, and alive.